What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. My name is Owe. I got my two co-hosts with me today. I got Dustin, I got Chris. We're going to be giving our Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania spoiler review. Of course, I already put out my non-spoiler review, which was fresh out the theater from last night. So if you've seen that video, you know what I thought. I thought for this movie bringing in Phase 5, I thought it was pretty weak for the beginning of Phase 5. But my two co-hosts, we all watched it together on Thursday night. I didn't like it. These two did. So I'll let one of you guys go first. Dustin,
Okay.
go ahead and go first. What's your initial thoughts on?
Let's get into it first. First of all, you came into the theater looking for violence. Okay. Let's be honest with that. You came into it, you were not in a good mood. Actually, it was 2 days before the whole theater. You were like shooting us texts. It was like, I guess I just saw the reviews, guys. This is gonna be garbage. This is gonna suck.
No, I was just giving you guys a heads up of what the critics thought on this one. And surprisingly, I think they got it right. I got to agree with them on this one.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It wasn't like the big bang of Phase 5. It was kind of just kind of slow into Phase 5. It kind of reminded me of when Avengers came. You know, they after they did all the individual movies and they finally did the first Avengers. I wasn't a big fan of that either. And then the whole movie, it was like there was a lot to take in visually. I felt like I felt like I was watching a big watercolor painting in motion because there was a lot of colors and my eyes were just going, wow. I mean, I thought Avatar was a lot to take in visually. This was a lot to take in visually.
And it wasn't as crisp as Avatar. I'll say that.
No, it wasn't as crisp as Avatar as far as that goes. But I mean, man, it was like a lot of colors, a lot. But that was my initial thoughts until we get into the deep dive of this thing. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, Chris, before I let Chris talk, I mean, I don't know if Chris is in space or the quantum realm, but he's definitely not on Earth. But there you go. He's leaving us.
Wow.
He's leaving us. Chris, get back over here and give us your initial thoughts on Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah. So I think visually it was Dustin's right. Like it kind of did. That's honestly what it reminded me of, like Avatar, with the colors and everything. Maybe just more generic. And it's kind of weird because I didn't expect that from the Ant-Man movie. Like I almost felt like some parts too were like reminded me of Star Wars, like being on a different planet. That kind of reminded me of that too. As a movie to set up Phase 5 and build hype and be that main driver, I don't think it lived up to those expectations, especially what we expect from Marvel, especially setting up the big bad in Kang. But yeah, as a standalone movie, very good. But as a piece of a whole machine for the Phase 5 startup, you know, it didn't drum up too much excitement to what look forward to. But who knows? Maybe it's just the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. I don't think you two are the same two guys I went in leaving the theater, because as soon as the movie ended, I gave you my thoughts and my score, and you guys straight up attacked me. But now you're kind of saying the same talking points that I said in my non-spoiler review. So I don't know what's up with that. So we're going to delve deeper into spoilers because
hold on, I'll talk about this though. I kind of agree with both you guys on that, but I'm kind of on the flip side with Chris. I feel like as a standalone movie, it wasn't that good, but as a movie that's supposed to bring us into Phase 5, I thought it did well because
okay, so the opposite.
It's the first part of Phase 5. So I mean, if you're looking at the short game of it as a standalone movie, it's not the strongest. But if you're looking like the long game, if you're looking as a marathon, not a sprint, it was a good start. It wasn't a horrible start to Phase 5. It was a good start to Phase 5, introducing especially Kang.
Like you guys said, as a standalone movie, I thought he was a good villain for a standalone movie. But for the setting him up and the other thousands of versions of him roaming around the multiverse, I'm not too impressed. I'm not too scared. And if this Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man was supposed to be the strongest out of all of them, not impressive at all, to be honest with you, because he got beat by the ant family. He got beat by ants, and he honestly talked more shit than he actually got shit done, at least from the movie. They tell us he's the biggest, baddest guy of them all, but honestly, they didn't show that much. But let's just get right into spoilers in the movie, because A lot happened in this movie. We open up with, Scott Lang. The introduction to Scott Lang after Endgame. He's a celebrity. He's kind of retired, not much for him to do. And I like that part. I like the whole beginning, the fun little MCU beginning. You get to see the fun life of Scott Lang and everything. So I got nothing against Ant-Man. I always thought he was a good character. I think he's better in part about more of an ensemble with other big superheroes and Marvel characters in the MCU.
He's real good at playing off other characters. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and more interesting characters than the Ant family. I'm not really not too interested in the Ant family, but Scott Lang, I
I
thought he
felt
was good
like
too.
I felt like the intro that you were talking about. I feel like this was the first intro that they didn't super focus on after the blip. They're really just going into now just everything was really back to normal.
Well, that's where we get into the introduction of Cassie Lang because
Mm-hmm.
they do kind of bring back the blip because she's kind of a rebellious teenager. She was arrested in the beginning for messing with police during a peaceful protest, which I was like, damn, I already hate this character. Okay, but okay, rebellious teen, and she happens to be the smartest teen as well because we'll get to the dinner scene where we're reintroduced to everybody, and they're all kind of shitting on Scott Lang because he's retired. But it's like this guy spent like a majority of his life in prison, and as soon as he got out, he was thrown into the life of Ant-Man, and he also saved the universe. So it's like let the guy live his best life. So,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really a fan of them shitting on him, but it was a good introduction to get Scott Lang to be more, you know, uh, inspired to do something more with his life than just write books and be a celebrity. But um,
Yeah, I agree with you. I kind of again it was more focused on just being normal again and moving forward rather than looking backwards. Yeah, no, I like Cassie. I thought she was a normal teenage daughter type of thing that lost her father for 5 years, and now she sort of it's a cliche. It's a cliche daughter, and then she's very smart and all that stuff. I get it.
she's a cliche character recycled over and over again in phase
Yeah.
four. We introduced this new female lead who's rebellious, but also good at everything because let's go past the dinner scene and right into the setup that's, for the main action and the main plot of the story, which, they find out that Cassie's been working with Hank Pym in developing this device that could reach into the quantum realm. Cassie's the one who develops this device because she had free time. She had free time for 5 years and she read a journal. She didn't go to college. She wasn't a scientist. She just had free time and studied a book, a journal, and
Yeah,
was
no big
able to
deal.
create this magnificent device that could, you know, tap into unknown territories. So you just have to
Well,
go with it.
don't miss the parts about first of all the super ants that Hank developed or whatever he put them in there, but then they figured it out themselves. And then I noticed too that the pim particles the last time we saw them it was just making you go big or get you small like Ant Man, but now they sort of really been able to control it. You saw Hank Pym with the pizza, kind of Back to the Future esque, no part two, where they put him in the hydrator and it's all of a sudden went from small to big. This one, Hank put this little needle, injected it, some pim particles in a pizza, and all of a sudden it's an extra large
That can't
pizza
be
for
healthy. There's
everybody.
got to be something in there that's not good for
Well, they've I guess
digesting.
they've definitely developed it, and they've they're pros at it now. But yeah, the pim
Sa-
particles have come a long way from when we first saw them with Ant Man and everything.
Saved them a couple bucks, remember? On the
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
it
a
did.
large pizza these days costs $29. But
Hmm.
all right, so they set up the quantum realm device, and of course Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, who she was probably the standout of the movie for me, honestly. And half the movie was about Janet,
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer's character. But I've been thinking about this, and someone in my comments section in the last bit also pointed this out. This whole movie is Janet's fault because she refuses to tell anyone in the world that in this quantum realm there's a being that should not be released. That's why no one should tap into this universe because there's a super being that's going to take over everything. That would have been a good detail to have
Yeah,
Janet. So,
that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah,
so
she would
yeah,
just told everybody. Then
I
yeah,
thought about that in the movie. I was like, if you just opened your mouth and warned everybody about this guy, everybody would have knew not to go into the quantum realm.
exactly. So yeah, the more I thought about that, the more I even disliked the movie a little bit more. But so they turn on the device, and within like a minute, everyone gets sucked into the quantum realm. Hank Pym, Hope, aka the Wasp, who she didn't have much to do in this movie, but we'll get to that. Everyone gets
Yeah.
sucked in. Cassie, Scott, and they all kind of get
Very very Jumanji-esque.
Yeah, it did feel like
I just kept
Jumanji.
thinking like all these other like movies that remind me of during the scenes of Ant-Man. I was like, wow, this reminds me of this movie. This reminds me of that movie. Chris said it reminds me of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially with the whole rebellion part with all the aliens or people living in the
mhm.
quantum realm, but they all get sucked in, they get separated. Scott and Cassie are together, and the trio of Hank, Hope, and Janet, they're separated from them. So we have two separate storylines. And honestly, I was more surprisingly more invested in Janet and their storyline compared to Scott and Cassie's when they first get to the quantum realm, which we already talked about the visuals. I didn't see a difference between quantum realm or space. It felt the same. If you've seen any of the Guardians movies, you couldn't tell the difference, honestly, between different
Yeah,
planets and worlds.
that's for
That's why I
sure.
wasn't really impressed with the quantum realm, although some visuals did catch my eye and some designs of the characters in the quantum realm were pretty interesting. But yeah, Scott Lang and Cassie, when they meet the rebels, man, I was like, yeah, is this movie trying to be Star Wars? Like, do we really have to spend time with this group of rebels who are all comic reliefs except for the muscle girl who was like the leader? Who,
Yeah.
yeah, they had the jarhead guy. He looked cool, and they had the squid guy or the squishy dude who
Yeah,
was
Mhm.
he was
ups.
funny. I liked him. He was funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
they
was a
all had to
cute.
drink the brood or something like that.
The ooze, the
Yeah,
ooze,
What is
yeah,
it?
the
yeah.
Drink the
ooze.
They
drink the
all
They called it
ooze.
drink.
the
They
ooze.
they
Yeah.
introduced this ooze that everyone drinks so they could understand the language in quantum realm. That way, everyone could understand each other. Which okay, whatever. But yeah, the whole rebellion storyline, I was like, oh god, we're going this route. Like we're gonna have to deal with these people, like the underdogs. They're gonna have to save their realm. Which what are all these people just kind of find their way to the quantum realm
Yeah, where
somehow?
did they come from? Like, I wondered. Like, I thought about that. I was like, where the hell did all these people come from?
I'm
Like, they
guessing they're
got
just
there?
probably always been there. I mean, Janet explained to them that when she got in there, it's always been there. It's just another universe within a universe. They thought that maybe the quantum realm was just empty or whatever, but it's actually a living side universe within a universe. So that's her explanation. I'll just go with that.
Yeah, we'll just go with that just to get the plot moving forward because honestly, I felt like the first half or the first act of this movie took forever. I was like, where's Kang? Can we get to it already? Because I felt like the beginning was so long. That's why I was really bored within the first 40 minutes of the movie. Like the action, it was okay. The whole world and wonder of quantum realm, I was like a little numb to it by that point. But like I said, we have Janet, Hope, and Hank. They go on their little side mission. Janet's been there for 30 years before she was rescued, so she knows what to do. She has a contact who she's going to get answers from, and that's I don't even know his character's name, but they meet up with Bill Murray at the bar.
Let
Who
me help you out. His name is Lord Kryler.
Lord
Oh
Kryler.
yeah. No, no,
Lord
remember? Yeah, Lord
Kryler.
Kryler. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Janet's had a past with them, maybe a romantic past that they kind of joke around with. Hank's kind of envious with all that. So yeah, that was I mean, the humor in this movie is all over the place. I thought well, we'll get to that, but Bill Murray, it's Bill Murray. Honestly, I thought he phoned it in. He showed up for like 10 minutes, got a fat
Bill
paycheck
Murray
probably,
played Bill Murray.
like he always
Yeah.
does. So yeah, he wasn't really. I mean, it was Bill Murray. It was just a famous, likable face to get you hooked, and you know, he was a bad guy. He was a little sleazeball that ends up turning on Janet, and then informing Kang that that she's
Yeah.
back because
The
Kang
whole
and Janet have a history. So
Yeah, the whole point of Lord Kryler, I think, was sort of telling us that the whole quantum realm was pissed at Janet because they knew that she had inadvertently helped Kang, according to her background story, and then she just took off and went back to her world, and she left everybody to deal with this guy.
yeah,
So now that she's back in the quantum realm, they're just like, well, screw this girl. If Kang wants you, we're gonna get you to Kang because you left us hung out to dry while you went back to your normal life.
yeah. So let's just get into Kang. So because once he's introduced, that's when I started becoming more interested in the movie. I was like, okay, here we go. Kang's introduced, and the introduction to him is Janet telling the backstory of when she was stranded in the quantum realm and how she met Kang there as well. He's conveniently stranded in the same area, crash lands there at the kind of at the same time that she's been there, and they help each other because he seems like a good dude. He seems like a normal guy. He's trying to fix his little spaceship chair so he could bring her home, and he seems like a pretty good dude. They're bonding, and I don't know. I thought there was going to be a romantic thing there with them because they were there for so long, just them two, and she never
She
wanted
chose
to
Bill
talk.
Murray instead.
Yeah, she chooses Bill Murray instead. Eventually, Janet fixes his little magic chair, and whatever she touches, she gets a glimpse or like a symbiotic glimpse into his feelings and his history, and she sees all the atrocities that this Kang the Conqueror, he's been going around multiverses, destroying worlds, typical bad guy shit, which
Yeah, I mean, he explained it to her perfectly that in his world or his, I guess, universe, dimension, whatever, time and space and all that stuff does not matter. So he's able to just, traverse to wherever he wants to go. And he does seem she does have some sympathy for him, but I think the end game for her was I want to get home. This guy can get me home and he'll get me home.
see, that's the difference between like I felt no sympathy for Kang whatsoever. I mean, he was pissed off that he was banished by. I don't think we know who banished him there, right? He doesn't really tell.
No, I
They don't
mean,
tell you
so
till the
yeah,
very end.
Do
yeah,
they?
yeah.
Okay, you guys have to remind me when we get
It's
there. But yeah,
yeah,
this, I mean, for a villain like Thanos, you could empathize with because it's like he sees what the galaxy and worlds are doing to each other, and he believes that if I eliminate half the population in the galaxy, that will balance things out. Kang's motivation is he's pissed off and he just wants to take over everything because he's been wrong. I'm like,
No,
okay,
no, no, no. He said it was basically almost very Thanos like. He was traversing throughout all the multiverses, and he even showed him a little graphic, and he's saying the same thing that oh, I saw, and everybody was messing everything up, and I had to fix it and destroy everything and all that stuff. But he would, he didn't need a glove. He just had to do his thing and conquer, is what he said.
you're right. You're right. I kind of forgot that detail. That it actually is a very big detail. He says that something worse than him is coming into this world, and that's him. I was expecting some more answers with Kang and the other versions of him, and we really don't get that much explanation. Well, other than there's more of them out there, and he's supposedly the strongest one out of all of them. Which, if he's the strongest one out of all of them, that's pretty weak sauce because he couldn't even
Again,
defeat.
I go back to my short game versus long game type of argument. We haven't really seen what he can do yet. He just talks about it. So it's short game versus long game right now.
I'll jump to the mid credit scene where at the end of the movie where we do see the Council of Kang, which is also in the comic books. But I thought the execution of the Council of Kang, the way they portrayed it in the mid credit scene, was god awful. I thought it looked like Power Rangers Saturday morning bullshit. I was like, this is terrible. Like they
yeah,
had like Pharaoh Kang, they had like a cyborg Kang, and then they had all the thousands of Kangs in this Coliseum.
Mhm.
I didn't think it looked good. I didn't think it looked good, and it didn't help me in getting more excited to see. Oh, what are all these Kangs up to? I was just like, oh, this looks terrible. That's what
yeah.
I
Not
took out of it.
not at all, man. That whole scene was like, all right, like this is what I have to look forward to. It looked like a bunch of just caricatures of Kang. Like a whole bunch of different versions for the sake of having different versions of him, like with no purpose. You know, and like Kang, dude, like I still don't understand. Like I guess his powers is that he can jump timelines. But when it comes to maybe physical like strength, when he fought Ant-Man, he didn't really dominate him. Like
Ant
so
Man got
that
a
that
couple
won't be a
hits
thing.
on him. Ant Man
Yeah,
got
he
a couple
did.
hits on
He
him.
did.
Yeah, his power is explained as he just has a lot of technology, like whether it comes from his
Centuries
chair or his
beyond. Yeah.
suit. Because remember when in the main conflict when he damages like his little armored wrist, he's like it's all like sparkle. It's like a tripwires coming up. It's sparkling electricity and it's broken. So he can't use any of his like beam tech or whatever. So he has to resort into a fist fight with Ant Man. So yeah, technology is his game, and he's talking shit saying he's beat up Thor and stuff. He's beat up Avengers. Really? I'm not buying it. And his army that he raised while being stuck in the quantum realm because after Janet realizes who he is, they have a little fight scene. She uses the pim particles to take the device that fixes his chair, and she gets out of there, starts a rebellion, and Kang is stuck in his little stranded area, and he raises an army with his tech. And for being the smartest villain in the multiverse, here's how smart Kang is. So when they capture, so out of all this, Scott and Cassie are captured. He doesn't think for one moment, maybe I should take their little super suits off of them, because obviously they could, obviously he had to use Scott Lang for a
Yeah.
reason, but it's like maybe take it off Cassie so she couldn't, maybe escape. So yeah, okay, really good job, Kang. You're the smartest dude in the multiverse. That's what I was thinking during that whole scene. It's like take the damn suit off of her, Kang. Like she's gonna
Yeah.
do something. So
One
then
thing
that would
I
end the
will say that
movie.
we haven't
That would
talked
end the
about though
movie.
is yeah, I know, yeah. One thing I will say though is Jonathan Majors plays him good. Like he acts out Kang well. Like he plays the role well. So I will say that Kang itself as a villain is maybe not the most intimidating, but I think he played the role pretty well.
yeah, this Kang the Conqueror compared to, I know you haven't seen it, Chris, but He Who Remains, his
Mhm.
version of Kang and Loki, completely different. So Jonathan Majors is a solid actor. He's got great range. So we'll just get to one of my
Hey,
favorite parts of the movie. I don't know if it's one of your guys' favorite parts, but this was by far the standout portion of the movie for me. And that's the probability scene. What was it? The world of probability, which is this is the quantum realm. We're supposed to see things we've never seen before. And for the most part, everything in this movie that I saw was pretty cookie cutter stuff that we've seen in other movies. But this scene where Kang finally captures a Scott and Cassie, like kind of midway through the movie, and he has to use Scott Lang's ability to acquire the MacGuffin of the film, and that's the device that Janet used against Kang for him to travel out of the quantum realm universe. So he has to use Scott Kang to do a little mini heist in the quantum realm, which this was my favorite part of the movie. It was called the probability. What was it called?
The probability
The
dimension or something like that.
yeah, it was just a crazy world where anything that could come to mind could happen. And this was my favorite part of the movie for only reason, or for some reason, Kang, who has all the technology in the world, he's not able to go in this little part of the quantum realm, but Scott Lang is. And so that's why he needs Scott Lang. We did have a good scene between him and Scott Lang too, where he's kind of explaining to Scott who he is. He's trying to intimidating him. And he has that good line, which is one of the, he talks a lot of shit in this movie, but he has that great line, like when he says, like, I'm an Avenger, Scott Lang says it. And Kang's response is like, have I killed you before?
Mm-hmm.
Implying like just that little line right there shows
Yeah.
you how big of a
yeah,
badass
I
Kang
like I
is.
like the
Because
one he says, "You're the one with the hammer."
yeah. He's like,
Yeah,
yeah, I get that a lot, or something like that.
yeah.
yeah, that was a good back and forth. Of course, more humor in there to break the tension, which I'll shit on the humor a little later towards the end of this review. But he has to use Scott Lang to get this little MacGuffin device, and this was by far my favorite part of the movie. Scott Lang goes in this dimension to get this device where he has to reach up and grab something bright. But during the scene, whatever outcome that's going through his head, it multiplies. So he gets like all these versions of himself
Mhm.
multiplying as he's going through this world of probability, which I thought was a pretty damn cool scene.
It
Like,
was a cool scene. It was, and obviously I think the scene stealer was the version of Scott Lang, Baskin
Yep.
Robbins. That
Yep.
was the Baskin
Yeah.
Robbins, all the way throwback. Um, Perfect. I think that was a great little humor tool right there, throwback humor. Yeah, I enjoyed that scene a lot. It was definitely different. You get to see it, and honestly, I think that scene will probably, I'm going to predict it. I think that scene will probably play out through phase 5 if we ever go back into the quantum realm of some sort. We'll probably get back into that probability type of zone or dimension, and they're gonna have to use it against Kang or some sort, because it was just such a cool area to be in, and you could probably play around with it so much.
yeah, like I said, in this world of the quantum realm, we're supposed to see shit we've never seen before, and this is the only thing really we've never seen, which was this world of probability or whatever. But like you said, there's like hundreds of versions of Scott Kang trying to figure out how to get up and grab whatever he needs to grab. So, and the Baskin Robbins Scott Lang, he had the biggest heart out of all of them. He's kind of motivating everyone to like get together, but
Yeah.
Scott Lang
It's
hears Cassie's voice in his head, and there's a scramble to get all the way to the top. And he's being smothered by all the Scott Langs because they're all dying and they're all freaking out.
that's a yeah. I think that's probably the one part of the movie where it's all unanimous for all three of us. That was the best scene in the movie. And I don't think it's not a world of its own. It's that actual device. Remember, it gets blown up through the pin particles, and just being in there, it plays with the mind, and that's like just part of it. That's why I think maybe Kang hasn't gone in there, and MODOK either. Which we need to talk about MODOK a little bit too.
Ooh,
But yeah,
yes, we
I'll
will
start
get.
out, dude. It's such a okay. All right.
We'll get. Thank you, Chris, for getting to Modoc. We'll get to him right after we wrap up this probability scene because yes,
Yeah.
Modoc. Ooh, I got some words to say. But all right, so the probability scene, without a doubt, all three of us unanimous, our favorite part of the movie. Scott Lang almost fails in grabbing it, and of course, Hope the Wasp comes in, saves him at the last minute because which that's all she does in this movie. The Wasp really had nothing to do in this movie other than save Scott. That's really all she
And
did.
recently she said in an interview or something that she would like to have her own standalone movie.
Evangeline Lilly
Why?
said that.
Yeah. Like no one's asking for that.
No one's asking for this. And I mean, her title or her name is in the title of the movie, and she had nothing to do. So, yeah, I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Maybe a Disney Plus show. She might get a Disney
Yeah,
Plus show,
exactly.
not a
No one would
movie.
watch that. No one's gonna watch that either.
Yeah, well, I'd rather watch that than the Marvels coming out in November. I'll tell you that.
Don't
So,
sleep on it. Do not sleep on the Marvels. But anyway,
Yeah,
on to
that's
Modoc.
that's another
On to
yeah,
topic.
Modoc.
let's go to Modoc, which
I
I
like MODOK, dude.
okay. Chris like
Yeah.
Modoc. What did you think about
Yeah.
him, Dustin?
As soon as he was revealed as Darren, yeah, I started hating on it. Did not like it. I did not like Modoc. He reminded me of was that guy on Ninja Turtles, the big brain guy. Do you guys
Oh
remember
yeah,
that
the big
one?
brain. He's in the glass jar. The
Yeah, it's
brain's
a
in the
glass
jar.
jar and
Also,
Modoc.
there was there's a whole bunch of memes from Shark Boy and Lava Girl with
Hmm.
George Lopez when he's in the head thing.
Yeah,
Um,
I
yeah, it
mean,
was
the
just a
visuals in
weird.
this movie was just about 10 steps above Shark Boy and Lava Girl at times. It had the same aesthetic, to be honest with you. But yeah, Modoc, man, like when he first appears during the whole assault on the rebel base in the beginning, I was like, okay, I thought I was going to hate on Modoc because I did see earlier versions of him, but I was like, him with the metallic mask over his face, I was like, this is pretty cool. I forgot what the acronym stands for. They even make fun of it later on, like, oh, Modoc's an acronym, little jokey, like whatever. But yeah, once it's revealed that Modoc is Darren, I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, they were just trying to give something for Cassie to do later on in the movie because there's a bunch of jokes and throwbacks that, like, oh, when I was like 5 years old, a man in a bee suit tried to kill me. So that's like, this is Cassie's moment to shine when he fights him later in the movie. But Modoc, man, like, if you're going to introduce him this way and just have him, he was literally a punchline in the movie. Like, he was just supposed to be a joke and he gets punched in the face later
It
on.
was a pretty corny joke. It wasn't really
It was a
that.
corny joke, as a lot of jokes in this damn movie were. It was cheese fest galore for me sometimes. But yeah, Modoc. I mean, I'm not the biggest Modoc fan, but you could have made him like an interesting reoccurring villain if you wanted to, because that's kind of like the duality of Modoc is he does look goofy. He's a giant head with a bunch of weapons floating around, but at the
Mhm.
same time, he's like the perfect killing machine. But they just completely negate that and just joke around with them and just make him to a big giant joke, which I'll just like, oh man, this is just like, why?
Well,
Like,
let me help you out with that. MODOK stands for mental organism designed only for killing. That is what MODOK stands for. And he was like, it was, I did not like him because throughout the movie, he just kept screaming at everybody, I'm here, I'm the greatest killer or whatever. He just kept screaming at everybody. I'm a killing machine. I'm here. I'm the greatest killer thing.
and no one
So
took him seriously the
no,
whole time.
nobody.
So like, not the
Did
character.
you
Like I
you like
said,
them though, Chris? That you said you
yeah,
liked them?
I did. Yeah, because it was. I think he was there. Unfortunately, but he was there more for comedic relief, and I think like when Scott Lang first meets him, and then Hank. I think those scenes were. It was just hilarious to me when he introduces himself to both of them. Um, and if you watch, like, if you know the Modoc character, he is supposed to be kind of, off the wall, not your typical villain. People don't take him seriously, so that is part of it. Um, and he didn't look as bad. I think visually it looked pretty. It's supposed to kind of look off-putting, like a little corny, but um, I liked him, dude. I didn't think he was going to be a big player in the movie. Kang we know is a big bad. He's just like a secondary. Oh, he is right though. They could have used him for more future movies. Spoiler
I,
alert, but
I'm glad they killed him off. And I think his line when they killed him off, it was the best. I thought that was the funniest
yeah,
part
that
of him
was
because
funny. That was hilarious.
he
Yeah.
died and he looks at Scott Lang. He goes, "At least I died an Avenger." And they just kind of looked at each other like, "Sure, man, go for it. You die as an Avenger."
That was
Yeah.
I did laugh. I did laugh. I actually got a
Yeah.
good chuckle in his death scene. That shit was pretty funny when he's just trying to find some sort of way to be a hero, even though he's been a
Mhm.
piece of shit
Yeah.
during his whole run. But that was the one funny part, honestly, I found with Modoc. I wish they could have done more with Modoc.
Pour
Or
one out for my boy Modoc.
No,
yeah,
he's. I'm glad he's gone. It was
yeah,
really corny
he was corny. He had
and
one good joke, a couple there maybe, and he's
and
dead.
visually, it was like visual vomit in my eyes. To be honest with you, I was like
Yeah,
looking at this guy
Modoc's
like, oh,
awesome,
come
dude.
on.
Yeah, that he was cool.
Chris liked him.
Yeah.
Dustin didn't like him. I didn't like him at all, except for
No.
that last scene where he did die. I thought that was pretty funny and stupid at the same time. But
Mm.
well, let's just jump to the conclusion. All right. So Scott gets the little MacGuffin device. Kang, doesn't hold his end of the bargain up because he still has Cassie, or
Mhm.
he thinks he has Cassie in his cells. But like the genius villain that Kang is, he doesn't take Cassie's suit off of her, so she's able to escape the prison and form a revolt with the buff warrior girl who I didn't care about. Who how is this chick even still alive in this world? She's like a buffed out cave girl who is super strong. That's
She's
about
a
it.
generic Xena. Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
that's really what it is.
Nice.
Yeah, we have this ragtag group of rebellions now, and Cassie interrupts Kang because when Kang's trying to look for Scott, he gets on his little digital holographic microphone and he's trying to give a speech to his empire of drones that don't do much. And he's giving this typical like villain spiel. It wasn't really that intimidating. It was a generic villain speech. Cassie interrupts it, and which inspires the rebellion that's out there to come to their aid. And we get a giant war scene with this ragtag group of quantum realm rebellions against
Broccoli
Kang
man. There was a
and his
broccoli guy
empire.
in there.
The
I love
what?
that broccoli guy in there.
Yeah.
He
The
was
broccoli
cool.
guy? Yeah, yeah.
Broccoli guy was in there. Yeah, it was yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's pretty generic again, cliche. Hey, stand up to this guy. There's more of you than them. And you gotta stand up for yourself and all that stuff. And all of a sudden the townspeople of the quantum realm realize, yeah, you know what? We gotta stand up for ourselves and we can beat this guy. And they all start going up against Kang's forces.
Yeah,
Cliche again, pretty
So
cliche.
now,
it,
now that I think about it, since we're talking about this, could be my conclusion, I guess, is that, um, and as we're talking through it, it kind of hits me. But I think Ant-Man is better suited to like Earth setting versus being trying to be. It kind of almost feels like it's being something it's not. I think the quantum realm or otherworldly backgrounds, whatever, should be left to like Guardians of the Galaxy type of characters or movies. It wasn't as well thought out as it should have been, or fleshed out as it should have been when they introduced the quantum realm, because they hinted at in previous movies that this was going to be like, there's so many possibilities if you really think about it, but ultimately the world itself wasn't, as jaw dropping. But the comedy I like the comedy in it. To me, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't too too cheesy. It was good.
it was every
The
two
action was
seconds for me though. It was every 2 seconds they had to throw in a joke. Even when they're just interacting with Kang, trying to build up the tension, they would throw a joke here and there. I was just like, come on, like take yourself seriously for once, Marvel. Like I'm trying to be
But
scared of Kang,
but
and
that's
I'm
Marvel
not.
though. Marvel has to keep
yeah.
it. Marvel keeps it light, and sometimes the jokes work. I thought some of the jokes worked here. It was kind of 50-50. And then sometimes the jokes don't work, which is, zero out of the million jokes they try to do at Thor, Love and Thunder.
Oh God.
So That's Marvel though. They keep it light. So I mean, they're consistent with who they are.
Yeah, and it's like a family story too. So you have the cringiness and like all these one-liners, like Ant-Man hugging Cassie when they're both giants. Like, oh, I feel like I'm hugging Godzilla. I'm like, oh,
Mm.
come on, just start fighting. Like, oh, geez, like the cheesiness too much. But yeah, Kang, his forces are getting kind of evenly matched with this group of rebellions. There's a big battle. Of course, it culminates to a big giant underground space battle in the quantum realm. And Kang's had enough. He's had enough. He gets down there himself and he starts whooping ass. Finally, we see what this guy's all about. He uses his tech and really, the suit gives him super strength and everything. He's got beams. He's got like omega beams coming out of his arms, and he's just wiping out the rebellion. But he doesn't kill anyone of significance. Like, okay, he's killing a bunch of rebellion bums who are, just nobodies, and he kills the jarhead guy, which who cares? Um, like I wish this movie had some balls. I wish this movie had some grit and killed someone important, or even at the end, which we'll
Like
get
like like
to.
one of the Langs, like Scott Lang
Yeah,
or
like
Cassie.
no
I mean,
Hope,
that's
like
we're
Hope
kind of
or
messing
Hank
with the
Hope
maybe.
Scott
Yeah.
timeline.
Lang kill somebody. Like when Thanos first appeared, he whooped Thor's ass, he whooped Hulk's ass, he killed Loki and Heimdall. Kang really didn't do much in his first appearance to
Yeah,
make
but
me be
that
like,
was
oh
like
shit,
that
we
was
got to be
like in
worried.
the that was in the towards the eighth inning of that phases. I mean,
True,
that's
true.
when
They only hinted
this is
towards
the
him
beginning, man.
in
You
the big
can't,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, okay. Well, if Kang's so powerful, he couldn't kill the ant family or even defeat one of them, and he couldn't
Maybe
defeat
he's limited,
ants.
dude. Maybe he's limited in the quantum realm. He's not. Once he gets out of the quantum realm, he won't have any
All
restrictions.
right, you guys can
Essentially,
make all the
it could be
excuses you
yeah.
Yeah,
want for
the yeah,
Kang.
yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we don't know, but this is clearly this next phase is all about multiverses and all about different dimensions. So you never know what Kang could do in a different universe or a different verse.
This
It's
Kang doesn't matter. Kang the Conqueror doesn't matter because he does die in this movie,
mm,
which the other Kangs say. But we're getting to that right now. So there's a little battle with the trio of Cassie, Hope, and Scott Lang fighting Kang. Kang's whooping their ass, and at the last minute, Hank Pym, the super ants that came in the quantum realm in the beginning, come back into play. Somehow they've been in the quantum realm longer than everyone else and developed the society of ants or whatever, and they come in and save the day. The whole ant colony, like thousands of them, come rushing into Kang's base as the rebels are, getting decimated, and Kang and Scott and his family are getting whooped by Kang. Here come the ants to save the day because Hank Pym sends them in there, and I'm like, all right, this is Ant Man. What can you expect? So, like, and
I
they
mean,
they
it
all
wouldn't be ants were there since the very beginning, since day one.
Yeah, you know what?
True.
Ants
Ants
were
are a
day
force
one
to be
people.
reckoned with. Ants
Yeah.
are severely underrated, so I'll give them that.
They can lift 20 times their own weight.
Yep. And when there's
Yeah.
1,000 of them and they're the giants, I mean, I could kind of believe them.
And not
Kind
to
of,
mention, these were super ants. These were ants that created their own super technology.
yeah,
So it's a different breed. It's definitely a
yeah.
different breed.
Okay, they got super
Now we're
ants.
talking about ants. We're talking about
Yeah. So
super
There's a lot.
ants.
There was a lot going on in this movie.
there was a lot going on. And so the super ants come in, they save the day, they bum rush Kang, they take him out. You think he's defeated. And, the ant family, they got the MacGuffin to transfer back into the real world, which they all do. And at the very last second, before Scott jumps in, surprise, surprise, Kang's alive. And he stops Scott from getting into the quantum realm. And they have a one-on-one fist battle, which Kang, he whoops his ass. But he, like we said earlier, his tech is damaged, so he has to resort to a fist fight with Scott. And Scott gets a few lucky hits in there, but it's obvious that Kang's just, he's too experienced, too powerful, even without his powers. And during the scene where Kang is just ragdolling Scott in that room, and the quantum realm portal is just open, like I'm like, Kang, what is your dumbass doing? Like he's done. Jump in the hole and beat
Yeah,
everyone
I
else
thought
up.
that too. Yeah.
So that's just bad writing right there because instead of like jumping in the portal, he just continues to taunt and beat the shit out of Scott, which gives enough time for Hope to come back into the portal and help Scott defeat Hank Pym, or not Hank Pym, help Scott defeat Kang.
Yeah.
And Scott gets the Pym particles, throws it into the little portal machine, whatever. and it closes the portal while also killing and sucking in this version of Kang or whatever, and Kang just kind of gets sucked into this thing and disappears. Which
That whole fight gave me WWE ladder match vibes. Where the bad guy is, could have had the chance to like, climb up that ladder and grab the belt. It says it has to do the bad guy thing, and lets the good guy come out of nowhere and come back and climb up that ladder and win the match. So
yeah,
that's what I thought of when I was watching that thing. And you're right. Yeah. Why don't you just get out, Kang? Leave.
yeah, Kang, like he did the whole movie, was just talk shit most of the time when he could have got shit done. So,
Yeah.
and this version of Kang dies, right? That's what all the other Kangs say.
Yeah. So at the end,
I'm not clear on that. I'm confused on that.
well,
But
neither was Scott Lang, because we go back to the real world. They all come back to it, and Scott's like walking down the street, and he says that he was thinking about it. How Kang said that his death is going to bring back something worse or something like that. So he was thinking, is this Kang actually dead or what's going on? And he had a moment of like fear, and then he just decided to
Well,
let it go.
because he realized that what Kang the Conqueror told him previously was like, I'm here for a reason. I'm here to stop what's coming. So that's why when they kill him, Scott's like, oh shit, maybe we shouldn't have killed him. That's what Scott's revelation and his dilemma was at the very end. But before that, like when Kang's dead and he destroyed the portal, I was like, oh, okay, so there is some consequence here. Wasp and Ant-Man are stuck in the quantum realm. How the fuck are they going to get out? But whoop de doo, Cassie within 2 seconds finds a way to bring them back, and it's a happy ending. We're right back in the beginning. So, like I said, I wish this movie had some balls and some grit. If they don't want to kill anyone, at least have some sort of consequence. Leave Wasp and Ant-Man in the quantum realm. That way they can't help out when, something else happens. But, it's a happy ending. It's a happy ending for everybody. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending. Yeah, aren't
It's
you
a
guys
happy
happy? You
ending.
guys loved the movie when you guys left.
that,
Now you guys don't
that
look so happy.
no, I'll well, we're gonna give our ratings, right?
Okay, so we talked. I think we talked about the mid-credit scene like earlier in the review. There was
Yeah.
the last credit scene, which probably was my second favorite part of the movie, to be
Yeah.
honest with you, because we
We,
got a
it
little.
prepares us for Loki, the second
Yeah,
season of
it
Loki.
prepares us for Loki season 2, which Chris watched Loki season 1. That's one of the better
It
MCU
is.
shows in
Okay,
my
yeah, no,
opinion.
I heard a lot of good things
Yeah.
about it. Yeah,
But,
yeah.
So
but yeah,
I'm
that
ready for
was
Loki season 2.
yeah. I just liked seeing Morbius, aka Owen Wilson, and Loki again. I really liked their dynamic.
Yeah.
So I mean, that very end credit scene was like my second or third favorite part of the movie, and it only lasted 20 seconds. But
Wow.
okay, give your rating, guys. I already gave mine in my last review. I'll stick to it. I kind of want to give it a lower one, but it's already set in stone. I give this movie a 2.5.
Dustin, you go ahead.
I'm gonna go. I was going higher, but I'm gonna go to mid now. I'm gonna go to 3. I'm gonna go to 3 out of 5. I am again. I'm when it comes to Marvel and their being able to be, their continuation, their content, their connectivity about with their whole process. Yeah, it's a trust the process type of thing with me. You gotta trust the process with Marvel. I mean, I remember the first phases. I was like, where the hell is this going? And then when you get to Endgame, it's just amazing, right? So it's a trusted process. I'm looking at the long game for this. This is the first out of the next whatever shows and movies of Phase 5, introducing Kang as the next villain. So I mean, you're looking for, like you said, you want them to have balls and all that stuff, but it's the first movie. You can't. I don't see Marvel going all crazy like that. You got to build it up first, and
They
you
won't
know,
because, like I said, they don't have the guts.
no,
Marvel's for
because why
it's
would you?
cookie
It's the
cutter
first
bullshit. They
movie.
don't have the balls to grow up.
But you could say that about against Thor, the first Thor, and Dark World and Iron Man 2 and 3. It's
At least at that
relevant to all
time,
that stuff.
though, at that time, even at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, they took themselves somewhat seriously. I think they took half of this movie seriously. That's why I didn't find Kang, that to be the big baddie that they're building up to or whatever. But
Well, I mean, for me, it's the long game. So it's not an individual movie. It's part of the connectivity for Marvel. It's the
screw
long
the
game.
long game.
It's all about the long game at
There's been
Marvel. See,
50
that's the problem because
movies.
you're all about the DC that have no connection. That's why James Gunn fired everybody. He
All right,
fucked all
here's
the
Dustin
ratchets because they
attacking
couldn't do it.
DC.
They couldn't
Here's
do it.
Dustin attacking
And
DC again.
now he's gonna do it. And now watch James Gunn and DC are gonna try to do exactly what Marvel. It's all about the long game with them. And right now with Marvel, it's all about the long game. I'm gonna trust the process. Was this movie that good? No, it wasn't. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is the most amazing thing. But we're gonna trust the process, and we're gonna go and see. It's part one of Phase 5. They introduced Kang in a very short, well, one of the Kangs, in a simple, easy, way of doing things, and yeah, we'll just keep waiting and seeing how Kang is supposed to be, and
Keep
that's it.
waiting. You could keep waiting. Give me Guardians 3 and I'm checking out. Call me when the next Spider-Man movie hits. That's what I'm
Yeah,
Wow,
no
saying.
problem.
this guy.
We'll wait
Proof.
till the Flash comes in and all that stuff because I know you're waiting for that, fanboy. And then all of a sudden, it's not going to be part of James Gunn's new connectivity that he's trying to be because he wants to be like Marvel.
Well, at least we don't get cookie cutter bullshit. I'm sick of this
For
Marvel.
now,
Grow up, Marvel. Get some balls. All
because
right,
the
Chris,
Flash
what's your
has
rating?
we haven't already seen multiverses and time travel through Marvel with coming up at Flash.
I don't know why Dustin's so hurt by DC, but Chris, what's your rating?
Not her idea.
This guy just started watching Marvel movies in 2020, folks. So
Yeah.
don't forget.
Oh, that is
Hashtag.
not true. That is not true. I was there from day one, and I
All
lost
right.
interest, and I came back. I lost interest, and I came back because I didn't trust the process. Then did it again. That went ahead and tried it again, and yeah, it's all about the process for Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, so I won't. I don't think it's as bad as the reviews say. I give it a 3. I'll revise my rating. From that initial hype after seeing it. But I'm more with Dustin on this. Trust the process. Owie, you're expecting stuff that's not going to happen, dude. It's Disney. I don't know why you expect some grit and killings and this and that. It's not going to happen.
I'm not trying to
You
see
know.
blood and guts, but
Yeah, no, I know, but
take your
it's
characters
just
seriously and throw some consequences
not
in there
gonna
for the characters. Because
not gonna
whoa,
happen. Kevin Feige is still the guy, so they're
yeah,
gonna have a
you know what
formula
this
that works well, and they're
MCU
gonna stick
period
to it.
is? You remember the WWE Attitude Era back in the day, where it's like, oh
Yeah, this
shit,
is
what's
it.
gonna happen? You know, this is the PG area or the PG era with John Cena, where you're gonna have to get the same cookie cutter bullshit every week and every fucking pay per
What you're
view.
looking for is for them to be WCW, bringing in whatever. Oh my God, this is like chairs thrown into the ring, and guess what? They got out of business, just like DC. So yeah, let's go back to Chris. Finish your thing, Chris.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
done. We're done.
yeah.
All right, we're done with this review. I'm sick of Dustin just shitting on DC. They didn't do nothing to you.
Truth.
Let
finish your
DC.
finish your thing, Chris, because I liked it. You said you're agreeing with me. Go ahead, finish it.
Yeah, this guy. But yeah. My phone went off for a second.
No, you're
But
good.
yeah, I think I'll still watch the movies. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I still think DC is gonna outdo them, dude, with James Gunn. That's a whole different subject. But as a standalone movie, I give it a 3.5. In the universe, I give it a 3. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, if you watch Loki season one, it's kind of the same outcome. There's Kangs out there. There's a lot of them. We really don't know. You know,
I
they're
mean
coming. They're
that's
coming.
the
That's
only thing that would sort of confuses me is like what is Kang really with Thanos? If he was the long game villain, he's just one guy, and then with Kang, it's like which one are we gonna get? You get one at Loki, you get one now here. Are we gonna get a different Kang at Guardians? A different Kang with
no,
the shows
stay
coming
out
up?
of Guardians, Kang. Just let Guardians do their
No,
thing.
he has to be part of the Guardians. I mean, he's gonna be there, and just I just don't understand Kang right now. He's part of the he got all these multiverses, and yeah, it's like I said, just gotta trust the process and let it play out the way. If we were, like I've always admitted I'm not a comic book guy, so I really don't know the arc of Kang. I'm just gonna watch the movies and let them show me what's supposed to be shown visually. So
Yeah, hopefully the next time we see Kang, he's more menacing. And
Yeah, yeah, I hope
Jonathan
so.
Majors, he has the acting chops to pull it off. Yeah, next time I see Kang, he better be murdering someone. Take out someone of significance because from what I saw from him in this movie, I don't think he could 1v1 Thor. I don't think he could 1v1 Doctor Strange. Like, come on, Kang, show.
This version. That's what I'm talking about. Like, what version of Kang do we get?
But they should all have the same powers. I mean, so it's going to be more or
I
less the
don't know.
same, you know?
Well, according to you guys, I should trust the process. So if there's 1,000 Kangs, maybe we'll get 1,000 movies till we find out which Kang is actually the real deal. But
A big ass probability scene, dude. Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
really knows what Kang is gonna do. I mean, we're not Marvel
yeah,
super nerds on this one. We're just watching the movies really and going with it. So
yeah,
someone
Yeah.
really knows how Kang is gonna be, and if he's gonna be the next super villain, then obviously Mr. Kevin Feige knows how special Kang can be. So
well, I mean,
Yeah.
the
It's all
lore
right.
is out there, the comics are out there, but we know the MCU likes to stray away from source material a lot. So we don't know. We
Hey,
don't know.
no,
You guys
no
can
big deal,
talk.
dude. We just gotta wait like 15 more movies to get to the
yeah,
conclusion.
5 more
Yes,
years, we'll figure it
yes,
Yeah,
out.
no big
yeah.
deal.
All right, guys, that is our long, lengthy discussion and spoiler talk of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. You can see whenever us three are together, I always like when we get to disagree. I always like when we get to disagree. I felt like Kang in this review. Actually, I wish I felt more like Kang. I thought you guys were going to be coming after me more because I thought you guys loved the movie more than you guys kind of expressed
If
in
you were
this
king, bud,
review.
you wouldn't be putting much of a fight. So
Oh, I'll put up the biggest fight. I'll put up the biggest fight because this movie was weak. But that's our review, guys. Post down in the comment section below what you thought of the Quantum Mania. What would you rate it? Let us know. If you like this video, click that like button, subscribe to this channel as well, ring the notification bell. We'll see you all next time. Say goodbye to Chris. He's floating off into space. Say goodbye to Dustin. I'll see
Bye,
everyone next
Chris.
time. See ya.